you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spell out, let me hear you loud, proud. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues.
Welcome to Neutral Voices. I'm Dr. V, and this is In Depth, where we dig deep in the trenches of what matters and maybe what doesn't matter to some people. Yeah. But tonight we are talking about DEI. What is it? We're going to talk about some of the fears connected to it as well as the future of DEI. Thank you for being with us. And so, guys, as I was digging into this topic, I realized it was so much bigger than I thought.
Yeah, it really is.
And I thought, okay, how long do we have now to talk about this? 30 minutes or something like that. So we got to try to fit a whole lot of content into a little bit of time. So let's make sure we hit some stuff that is going to make a difference. And so one of the things I want to start off with is some people think they know what DEI is.
Everybody thinks they know what it is.
And then you say, explain what DEI and what it means to you. How does it relate to you? How will it affect you moving forward? Then it's like, So I want to start with diversity.
Mm-hmm. Diversity? Mm-hmm. When you look at diversity, when you look at our world right now, diversity is anything that seems to be different than what the norm is, that doesn't fit into the prototypical what America sees something to be, be it color, be it race, be it now gender, be it age, be it, things such as that. If it doesn't fit into that mold, they consider it to be diverse, which it's already here. How is it diverse? But it fits in to the scheme of how things work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I view diversity really as just representation. Like if I had to sum it up, as Clarence stated, he was a little more in depth with it. But if I had to choose, one word, I would say representation. Different types of representation, whether it be gender, race. Yes. I mean, a lot of people think that when we talk about diversity, we're just talking about race, and it's so much more.
So much more. I'm glad you said that. Diversity, differences, various dimensions of differences, race, gender, age, socioeconomic status, physical ability. Mm-hmm. A lot of people forget that one. Right. So diversity. E, did you have anything you want to add to that one?
Well, no, she both of them mostly said what I was thinking, because diversity is a plethora of things. So you never know. Just because I'm left-handed and you right-handed, I mean, that's a diverse situation. It's just that simple.
Never even thought about that. Yes. And then so as we continue through, real quick, equity. Anybody want to speak on that one? Outside of the norm.
Well, equity, I think, is the least effective term in DEI.
I agree.
The reason I say that, equity was set out for those that were not afforded opportunities or given certain things where other people had, head starts. Like we think of equity, we think of an equal playing field, we think of a balanced scale. Mm-hmm. I don't think it has ever gotten to that equal, that the equity was in there, but they put equity in there to make it so it sounds like there's a...
So women think we're going to get paid the same
as
the male?
They put equity in there, in my opinion, to sound fair, because that's what equity is. It's fairness. They're trying to make it fair. So I think they just threw that in there on a whim, because I also agree that it's the least effective and prominent part of the DEI.
That's right. And what I have here is fair access to what matters to my family. It depends on my personal situation, what I'm dealing with, where I work, my territory, my space, whether or not I feel equal.
Right.
Any type of equality in that particular atmosphere. It could even be in the home. Mm-hmm. It could be right here on the panel.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do I feel like I get the equal amount of time to speak versus Clarence when he's hosting? Different things like that. Yep. So exactly. Equity, we get that. Next, the wonderful one.
The illusion
That-
of inclusion.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
illusion
The illusion of
of
inclusion.
inclusion.
Yes. Okay. What do you want to say about? Why are you looking like?
Well,
that,
I want to
Clarence?
hear Jill because in E, I'm going to let them speak first because
you had that look. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no,
what are you
because
looking
they caught me different when they both
Okay.
spoke of the.
Well, I mean, you got to
illusion.
think about it. They say we all included.
Mhm.
And that's what DEI is supposed to mean.
Right.
Everybody included.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it from a real standpoint, who makes the rules of who's included?
Mm-hmm. Who invites them?
Who's included and how inclusion
Yes.
actually looks or feels.
Yeah.
Right.
So who
Because-
makes the rules?
Yeah,
about
because you
that?
understanding me and how I feel and how I work and the things I do, the things I even like to eat makes me feel included from a sense that you understand there's some type of cultural competence about where I come from.
Right.
But
Right.
when you just don't have a clue of anything I'm saying and you don't care,
Yeah.
then I can't really feel included, even if I'm sitting at the table.
It sounds
Jill?
good. It sounds
Yeah,
really
exactly.
good to say that, for example, I'm just going to use a business. We're inclusive or whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks really good when you say that, but there's still an unconscious bias that exists. You can't control people regardless of these policies that you're putting into place. So a lot of times you would give the illusion that you're including people, but you're not doing anything to those systemic
Systemic,
things that exist. So that's why I said the illusion of inclusion. And then how do you even measure inclusion?
Well, and I totally respect that, but I see the inclusion from a different perspective. I think the inclusion is what led to the downfall of DEI. And I'm going to hit that a little later. The inclusion came where they opened the gates and allowed everything to come in. So when they open the gates, allow everything to come in.
Do you really mean everything?
I
or
mean everything.
Everybody.
Everything. I mean
Okay, I just
everything.
wondered.
Reason I say thing is from religion. It's from.
Okay.
I mean,
True.
I'm using thing as
got
you know
you.
in the right prospect, but they let everything in. So when you open up everything, then you let everything in, and I think that kind of
Why do you need
muddied
inclusion
the water?
at that point?
Yeah.
Because-
But it muddied the water because no matter what I thought, or deemed myself to be, you had to include me.
Yeah.
But that didn't mean that you were like an excluded race or anything. It's just that you felt that what you felt, your belief or whatever, had to be in there. So you forced your way in there. So we had to open the door. It got wider and wider and wider. So I think inclusion, I don't think it's an illusion. I think it's just an overused thing.
So you saying inclusion? Everybody shouldn't be included.
No, I'm not saying everybody shouldn't be included. What I'm saying is
So you saying you should narrow the.
that's not what I'm saying.
I'm saying
is,
what I hear you saying is
today, today when I feel like, and I'm gonna use that. Today I feel like I'm a black man, so you include me as a black man. Tomorrow I feel like I'm a 13-year-old white girl, but I'm looking the same way that I am.
Okay,
you
yeah.
have to include me as I think and feel that I am.
So
and
you
I
saying
think that's
the gap need to be narrowed when it comes to inclusion?
No,
That's what I'm asking.
No,
I mean-
I'm not saying that. But I'm also saying, what I'm also saying is that you can't satisfy every whim to include them.
And I get what you're saying on that, but when I say you need to, you saying they let everything in, right?
Yes.
So in other words, what you're saying is they need to close that gap, not to let everything in, but to filter things in.
I'll go with that.
I mean, that's what I hear you say.
Yeah. I'll go
Filter
with
it
that.
more, but is that
Yes.
what you? So is that really what you're thinking?
Yes.
Is that it's too wide?
But
Correct.
who chooses where
But
that
yeah,
gap is?
yeah.
Who chooses?
And that
And I
was
think
my
that's
next
the
question.
problem
Exactly
too.
where you were
And I
going.
think
That's
that's
where I
the
was
problem
going.
too. So,
Okay.
so there is no. That's why it's just wide open.
Okay, so I don't care. You could be what kind of little girl you
A
were.
13-year-old white girl.
Okay, you could be the 13-year-old white girl, or you could be Superman or whoever you
Right.
are, whatever. But if you're included, or they say, right, you're included, but yet you have zero power at the table. Do you really feel? I mean, if everything you say is overlooked, you're never really contributing to any changes or anything that's going. Do you feel included? Are you just there?
But they
You're
never
part
said
of
that
it?
they were going to give you empower and include you. They just said they were going to count you as a number.
Right,
For
but
the
true.
data.
That's why I said
but
yes.
and that's why I'm saying, because I want us to shed some light on the truth.
Yes.
So inclusion would actually welcome that. They would
Correct.
it would give you that feeling of being welcomed,
Right.
yet valued, respected, empowered to contribute
Right.
to the conversation.
Right.
And
So it's
so,
an
but if
illusion.
you're at the table and none of that's happening, then you're truly not included. And then it
Correct.
goes back to what Jill
Yes.
started with
Yeah,
the
the
illusion
illusion,
of
yeah, of
inclusion.
inclusion.
And so we don't stay there. But I do want to add this, that through it all, no matter what it is, wouldn't you guys agree that all three just contributes to a better atmosphere, period, in this world? Just when you think about what they all mean, if all people felt equal, if we felt included, if diversity is the different type of
Right,
people coming
right.
from everywhere,
Yes.
all are welcome.
Yes.
Just wouldn't it seem like, wouldn't each workplace
Yeah.
be a
What
good
does it say?
workplace?
What did Martin Luther King say? If America would live out its creed, that every man is created equal. Yes, it would be a better place. But
I'm just thinking that's
Yes.
just from my perspective.
I
What
mean,
you think,
sounds,
Jill?
It sounds good. I mean, if I had a choice, I would always rather be included than excluded. I would always rather be equal than to not be equal. I mean, if I had that choice, it sounds really pretty.
To have a
Sounds
safe
dressed
place.
up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that I thought is funny but not funny is that I'll say it was the target on target. And it was interesting to me that we know all of this. Well, did it really start with Trump executive order? Did it start with him saying this better happen, that better happen?
no,
Some people think it did.
no, it did.
It started before he
Yes,
took office.
yes.
Now, we don't know what the conversation was in the back room because we weren't included.
Correct.
But anyway, remember they were talking about Project 2025,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Do you think that it was wrapped up in that and where the conversation started? Because there were some people actually pulling away from the DEI agreement
Right.
before Target.
because they knew it was coming.
And I just want to point one out in particular. Why do I want to point out Walmart? I won't. I won't do that. I only say that because some people were targeting. That sounds so funny. Targeting Target, but Walmart had actually pulled out and started making changes way before
Right.
Target.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, people. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And-
2024. wasn't it?
Seriously, yeah. So I actually have some dates of some other companies. So as I talk about, it's going to be the ones that go anti
Right.
DEI, but then there's going to be some that's
That
going to
stand
want
firm
to
on it.
they're going to want to stay in there. So I do want to say real quick, I want to talk about some of the ones real fast. I want to break your heart. I'm going to read like a one line from certain ones. Coca-Cola and Pepsi were preparing to comply with Trump's executive order that sought to ban DEI programs as both receive government contracts. I just want to point that out because some of these companies will
Lose lots of money.
exactly what we're not thinking about. Okay, but there's a lot of reasons. You got to do your research because
Right.
it's way too much for us to go into. But that was one. Disney is making several changes to its DEI program, including shifting its diversity and inclusion performance metrics.
I'm sure Disney
The
don't
way
surprise a lot of us.
the way they use the way they do their search for talent
yes.
strategy, etc. There's a whole lot of other companies. PBS, which Trump has repeatedly called for defunding, shuttered its diversity, equity, inclusion office and those who worked in DEI roles. They just did that February 10th. And this thing actually has a whole timeline, and I'm going to keep going. A whole bunch of them. Amazon's in here. Google is here. And somebody, you remember hearing about them canceling out Black History Month?
Yes.
Part of that, y'all know why. Google had to take it off
Yes,
the
took it off the
calendar
calendar.
because they will lose funding.
Right.
And so a lot of people mad. What about the Smithsonian Institution? They told their employees its diversity office is closing as a first step. If it's the first step, it's not
It's
the
some more,
last.
right, yes.
Okay. Target was January 24th, which had already curbed their LGBTQ pride merchandise line. And then now it's the whole, where they going next? To some of the black. Ooh, somebody standing over there in the corner. I saw a face. You look like you support some of the black businesses in Target and might be hurt.
Yeah, they are.
Some people get their seasoning. I won't go into that.
Whether it's a Carol's daughter, a lot of their hair care products,
different things.
Different things.
And so but let me say this real quick. Support the people individually.
Correct.
Yeah, still support the people. You don't have to look. Let them get all their money.
Right.
So pay the same price. Support them individually. Anyway, I won't go through all of them, but Amazon's here, Meta's here, McDonald's is here. McDonald's announced it would abandon specific diversity targets, cease participation in external surveys, etc., and global inclusion teams. They got a lot. Yeah. All I can tell you, you have to be informed. But I just wanted to get to Walmart, which happened November 25, 2024. Walmart said it would abandon its DEI commitments, including winding down a center for racial equity. And they continue.
And with that, I saw something on the news today. The Department of Education is threatening its defund institutions, educational institutions that do have DEI. I know Ivy Tech has abandoned theirs.
That's right.
I think Ball State and Indiana University have abandoned theirs. There's so many universities and things that get government funding that they have to comply or they will be sanctioned or lose money. So it's a big thing. But you said, did it start with Trump? No, it started with the downfall of affirmative action 2 or 3 years ago. When affirmative action was taken away from us, you saw where they were going, and DEI is a derivative of affirmative action. If you look at the principles and everything else, they're just getting, making sure they clean up everything. There's no loose, hanging threads or anything.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you want to talk a little bit about the history?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, when we look at DEI, it didn't just start, recently. DEI, the term DEI, it just evolved into what it is now.
Right.
But you got to look back at history. We can start back when everybody was asking for rights. You can go back to the women's liberation movement. They wanted rights for women. Because if you look at the Constitution, women they didn't have rights. And at the time, it was just white women. They weren't even talking about black women during the women's rights movement. They were talking about white women. And they were set theirs. And they wanted the equity. They wanted the inclusion. Then it went to the civil rights, the same thing. If you look at the wording of most of them, all of them have the same wording and the same principles and the same premise that evolved right now to what we're talking about is DEI. It's diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's what they all wanted in the same thing. But it's all being repealed now because here we are.
I wanted to talk real quick about things to watch for. And so, everybody's talking about AI. How do you think AI will be affected, and will it have an effect on DEI in the future?
I think everything from this point on, it's going to have some residual effect or some kind of touching of, because think about it. It's going to sound racist when it comes out, but it's true. When you think about
It's going to sound racist, but it's true.
But you think about all the Indian people that are working, that they work in technology, all the Indian people. What's going to happen to them if they're not getting these jobs anymore? If they're not at these jobs anymore? And a lot of them black people developed a lot of these algorithms, these programs, and so they're not getting these jobs anymore. So what happens?
At that point, if it goes to that, when it comes to that point, you don't work for nobody.
Right. You
work for yourself. So that means you build your own off what they can't do, because you have the algorithm, or you have the power at this point, because now it goes to the point where you don't want this in your store. Cool. Guess what? It's easy to go online and set up a store. Right. So I can create my own money. Now I'm taking money from you. You losing money at the end of the day by doing this. Oh, I'm going to remove this DI. Just because the government is giving you money, the consumer is going to pay you more than what the government is going to give you, because the consumer is coming to you more often.
That's a good point.
But True, but remember how they were how you say building these different AI.
Yes.
What do you call them?
Algorithm.
Sites, whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever it's called, where they can track what color you are
Right.
and all
Yeah.
these different things. So moving into the future, it says with the increasing use of artificial intelligence in recruitment, new laws aimed at preventing bias at AI tools are emerging. Businesses must rethink how they use technology in hiring
Yes.
and as far as promotions to ensure fair treatment at all candidates. This shift requires a careful balance between leveraging AI benefits and mitigating its potential biases. So it gets into some of the things to look out for, reassessing inclusion programs with all of these different companies. There's so much reduction or elimination of DEI programs. So that's going to continue as time plays out,
Yes.
and not just in the next 4 years.
Yes, it's
right. It's going to continue. Legislative and legal challenges with DEI initiatives, fear factors. Some people fear of losing the support or the different grants and funding
Yes.
that they get. That's going to happen. There's so much, y'all.
Yeah.
I wish we
Yeah, I
had
wish
the time
it
to go
is deep.
into all of it. But any other fear factors you guys see coming that you are dealing with from day to day on your job? Any changes you see? Anything happening that concerns you?
I will continue to operate exactly the same. I mean, we were talking about this at work today, and I'm a hiring manager. So we were talking about, there's going to be people that no matter what, they're that bias that I was talking about, right? Regardless of the policies, if I don't want to hire you, I'm going to find a reason why.
Right.
If I don't like the way you look, I'm not going to tell you I'm not hiring you because I don't like the way you look. I'm going to find another reason. But I am that person. If I have two people in front of me that are qualified, I'm always going to hire, and my track record shows it statistically. I'm going to hire the person that I know is going to have a harder time getting a job because of the way that they are perceived. That is how I operate. Unfortunately, that is not how the majority operates, but that is how I operate. So regardless of what policies are put into place or what I'm told to do, I'm going to continue to operate in that light. So it will probably affect the people around me a lot more than it will affect me personally.
And so, Jill, in a nutshell, would you say the merit system matters?
I think that no matter what the policies are, I mean, there's a policy against sexual harassment. How many sexual harassment lawsuits are filed? There's a policy against, I won't discriminate because of your race or your color. Lawsuits everywhere. Just like any other policy, we're still humans. We're still people that are supposed to be abiding by these policies.
Right. And you know what it takes? It takes a courageous person in leadership to stick to those things.
Exactly.
And we're going to find out. Do people have courage, or are we dealing with fear? Let me give you a rundown of some of our fears before we get out of here. Fears of DEI. Now, this is fear of DEI, period, right? The fears of saying or doing something offensive. I can tell you for sure I have had to deal with that.
Absolutely.
Even in the classroom, because you're afraid you're going to call somebody the wrong thing. You're going to use the wrong pronoun. And you're like, oh, did I just let that come out of my mouth? So I'm just going to go through them real quick. Saying or doing something offensive. The fear of change. Fear of losing privileges. Fear of being judged for mistakes. Fear of not understanding the different people in the room. Fear of losing power or control because you have all these other people in the room. Anxieties around navigating sensitive topics that's going to come up because you're dealing with different cultures. Topics, potential disruptions to the status quo when implementing DEI. So no wonder they was like, hurry up. Yes, I'm signing that. Throw that out. I'm tired of walking on eggshells, pins. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you got to that point, because I think DEI ending is, I'm gonna say this. DEI did cause a lot of problems because you were forced to do things. Now we can, as a culture, we can look at DEI as either a damnation or an opportunity.
We were just talking about
And I think we're missing the opportunity out of DEI. The problem with DEI, and when I was saying I would get back to it, we were talking about inclusion and equity. The inclusion, because the civil rights, and that's what they talk about, civil rights. The civil rights right now is really a farce. It's a laughing matter. It's everything, because everything is a civil rights issue. There's this young lady, a rapper. She's a heavier lady. She Lyft driver refused her a ride. Now she's suing them for millions of dollars because it's a civil rights issue.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying the inclusion. You let everything in. Now everything has become a civil rights issue. It's either the clothes I'm wearing, the hair color that you discriminate. It became a civil rights issue from where the fight was. It was a people that were not able to get into. Now I believe class protection should be for people that that are not able to race, age, sex, not gender, sex, disability, mental or physical. Those people need these protections and still in place. And it's unfortunately that, Black people, older people, women, they're going to suffer some of the tragedies of DEI, but you got to look at it. Like he said, is it better, is it an opportunity? And what I'm saying is, other cultures have always banded together. They sold to who they sold to. They dealt with who they dealt with.
They catered to themselves.
Why can't we do that? This is an opportunity. I asked a question last night about DEI, and I was like, so what is the relevance or the importance of HBCUs today in the DEI era? Some of those schools we're not going to get back into or continue to be in. So what do we?
When you said HBCU?
No,
regular
WPIs.
college. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
WPIs.
Okay.
PWIs, predominantly white institutions.
Gotcha. Okay.
PWIs. I'm sorry, but so like when they were setting up this inclusion, and where you say, do you feel like you want it? You go to Harvard, and they know you're a DEI candidate. They let you know.
You just got to hear.
But they know.
They'll let you know.
Yeah.
So you don't have to deal with that when you can go be among you. You can choose where. No matter what group or what category you put yourself in, that means you can just deal with those people you want to deal with. Yep. I remember when gay marriages came, and this guy in Indiana, bakery had to close because he wouldn't sell cake to a same-sex couple, and they ran him out of business. Now I have a right to not have to. Here's the one thing that Donald Trump got right. Here's the one thing that he got right.
What?
Is that when he stopped DEI, he stopped a lot. We had to come to a point to say that's enough. That's enough. Because
who had to come to the point?
We as a people, because think about it. Everything came in. You as a Black woman, Doc V, if you went and got a job as a natural Black woman, but then there was a transgender Black woman there, and they had to do a DEI, y'all both equally qualified, who's going to get that job?
You saying
the transgender? Because they're gonna go
because
with the
they're gonna knock or kill 3 birds with one. I got you.
So, and then he's and how you feel about it? He's saying he's putting a lot of stop to these transgenders, like in sports and things like that. We were letting everything go in America, and we were including it in America. And we were making it inclusive in America. And I understand the land of the free, the home of the brave, whatever you want to say. But there's got to be a point.
Now,
wait,
who makes that point?
I know that's what I was just getting ready to say.
I'm going to ask you this. I agree with some of the things you're saying, but where does it stop?
Unfortunately, that's where we are right now, and that's
where
why we're having this conversation.
Because
that's
the simple fact,
we're having this conversation.
Because that's the simple fact that now at this point, Jill don't have to hire me because I'm Black, even though I am qualified for the job.
Right.
But little Peter, which is white guy,
right,
will get hired because guess what?
Why is got to be Peter?
But I'm just saying now Jill's gonna say, "Hey, I ain't gotta. Yeah, you qualified, but." Guess what? I'm gonna pick my little cousin Peter to do my job,
right?
Okay.
Because now you open the door to nepotism.
But here's what you said.
You busted wide open.
Here's what you said. E.
Okay.
These were your words.
But
hold on.
Let me finish. Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Can I
Let him finish because we only got 1 minute.
So with me knowing that is a breaking point is an opening for me to say, I don't need you, Jill.
Right.
I don't need you over here because I have the skill to build it myself.
Right.
And makes it might be a little harder, but at the end of the day, guess what? Now, hey, guess who I'm hiring? I'm hiring Clarence.
Right.
I'm hiring little Ray Ray.
Right.
I'm hiring little Pookie now.
Right.
Because guess what? I ain't got to
Pookie
worry
and
about
Peter.
hiring. No, I'm not hiring
No,
little Peter. But you know what I'm saying? Now I have the power to
I
hire.
hired Peter.
But here's the thing. Here's the E. And your argument was true, but your argument actually validated what I was saying too. Is
Okay.
because here's what I'm saying.
When you said they let
Here's what
everybody in.
but here's what I'm saying.
Everything
Is,
in.
yeah, businesses. You got to look at businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to look at things that like that. Now, again, we didn't get the equality. We didn't get the equity as
Right.
Black people. We never got the equity that was fought for us.
Mm-hmm.
But there were other entities. There was other movements. There was other things that got more equity in a less amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
Right?
than we as Black
Absolutely.
people.
But
Right.
still, I mean,
So hold tight. Let me tell you. So what I'm saying is, now that the civil rights, like I'm saying, now you're bigger and you're suing because your size, and I know all rights. You're a business owner. You have the right to refuse service to anybody.
Correct.
Correct.
But now it's a civil rights
Right.
issue where I'm gonna run you out of business. By suing you, and then walking on eggshells. You said it. I gotta think about what I say about who. If I'm not around you, people ain't gotta worry about what I gotta say.
Okay, now you said that,
but
and
you said that, but now I'm at my job. Now they can say whatever they want to say, and I can't say I'm going to HR. So what? Go to HR. You see what I'm saying? Now you pulling things,
And again,
you
I'm not
pulling
disagreeing.
things
I'm
out.
not disagreeing. I
When
am
you
saying
when you
that
shut that down.
when I opened up my statement, I said I believe that those protections still need to be in place for those people that don't have. I opened up my statement saying that.
now, so I just want to say this real quick. I know our time is up. You know, I'm getting the red flashing light. I got it. Anyway, I wanted to say the other reason why some of the companies may choose to stay in there, like Costco. Costco says that they are holding. They're trying to hold on as long as they can. I don't have time to go into all the other ones. Thought this was interesting. The Cleveland Cavaliers said they in it to win it. Delta, the same. So if you're flying high, you might want to choose Delta these days.
No, they just flipped over.
Did they?
We're not flying at all. We're not flying at all up here.
Hey,
No.
Hey, hold
Have you
on,
watched
hold
the
on.
news?
At least he landed upside down and got everybody safe.
No. We're boycotting the planes next.
Don't flip my conversation right now. I got to make this point. The point is, some companies are sticking to it, so they see the value in DEI. But I did want to mention that the reason some companies are going to stick with DEI is because of political pressure. Public perception. They worried about what you think because that could lead to the next one, economic concerns, and then the impact on underrepresented groups.
Yeah.
So they know you. So you mentioned some, even the ones with disabilities,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. So so there's a lot of reframing that has to happen right now, and it's going to happen with companies as we continue. Anybody have any other points? I got a few more I could make.
Yeah.
I just
but
wanna-
it's time for us to start.
I just have one
wrapping it
thing.
up.
I found a Harvard study. I think it was like 2023, but it talked about how DEI is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it was asking people, and I asked a gentleman at work today, my maintenance supervisor, who is a Black gentleman, and he had said, that Black people specifically are on unequal footing still today. In the workplace specifically,
Right.
even after all of this money and billions of dollars has been, put into DEI. So do you feel like you're better off because of the DEI policies?
That was my.
Do you feel like you're better off because of these policies?
No.
If these policies were to go away, would your life continue the same as it is right now because you've worked hard for your position?
Right.
So I think it's important to remember. I know a lot of people are upset and up in arms about this, but you have to kind of ask yourself, where we were,
That's
where
my question.
you were.
And I would like to get a quick answer. I know it's time for us to go, but I did have those 3 questions, a couple other ones that I won't even get into. But could you address that real fast for us? I know it's time to go.
Would it affect me?
Either way, DEI, how does it change the man you are today?
It doesn't.
Right now, what you're going to do
it
tomorrow?
It does not change anything tomorrow. The long term, we will have to see.
Yeah.
But what I would like to see, and what I would like for us as a culture, as a community, is to really look at it as an opportunity for us to build an infrastructure in our lives, in our community. If we deal with us, we have to start dealing with us. And if it's exclusive, be it exclusive. But we have to start dealing with us and build us up. If we want that power, we want that inclusion. Start dealing with us.
Basically, we just got to build our own table.
Yes.
At the end of the day, just build our own table. I mean, we had a table, and they didn't think the people didn't think our table was stable enough, but our table was really stable prior to
you talking
us.
about the black table?
Yes.
Okay.
We had a table, but we want to be included in somebody else's table that don't want us at that table and still don't want us at the table. So this is the opportunity right now, here and now, to say, okay, let's start building our table because they don't want us.
And I really know we got to get out of here.
Y'all know.
But here's a problem with Ian, what he's saying. Again,
Oh my goodness.
not with what he said. Here's a problem.
Can I get some yak,
Is
please?
this the way to end the show?
Here's the
Yak on the
problem
set.
in the whole thought process. He was right, but what I'm going to say, when we came in the civil rights movement, we came in with expectations and not terms. We
Correct.
came in with expecting something, and we didn't set our terms. Now, if we work it to our advantage this time, when we come back in, we can come with terms because we got power. We got our own equity. So that's what I want to see happen. I want to see if we go back to the table, we're going to say we're coming back under these conditions. We can set conditions if we build our own.
I like that. That would have been a good way to go out. But he looked like he wanted to say something. But what I'm going to do is, what I'm going to do, I wanted to say this. It is Black History Month, and I want to say a couple quotes real quick as we exit. One of the things Dr. King said, because, I want to connect it to DEI, but one of the things he said, very simple, he said, strength lies in the differences, not in the similarities.
Right.
And so, if we think about that, having different people at the table gives us different ideas. And so I'll just say one statistic. I had some stuff about different research. But anyway, a McKinsey study in 2023 talks about different companies who had these women, and they did, the survey about women. But anyway, it says that they showed a 39% higher profit because of the women that they hired. And so I'm just saying, so having men and women at the table, I think makes a difference. Blacks and whites, younger people, older people, so having that diverse group of people.
I agree with that.
Yes, I definitely. And then the other quote, I don't know if you guys have one of your favorite quotes or anything you want to share before I get to this last one that I have.
It's uniform and not uniformity. That
Ooh,
means
say that again.
It's uniform, but not uniformity.
Okay.
That means that we come in the same outfit, but we all don't look the same in that outfit. So, like you say,
love that.
if we're working as a team, we're working as a team, but our team is not all one.
Right.
I love it.
I have diversity is a fact, inclusion is an act.
I love that too. E, you got one?
No, I ain't got one.
Okay, we're
Let's
going to let
close
you
out.
close it in a second. But anyway, and then this is my final one. I'll say thank you right now. Thank you for hanging with us. This is Neutral Voices. This one that I have says inclusion is not bringing people into what already exists. It's making a new space, a better space for everyone. And that's George Dye. E, what do we say when we leave the people?
Always protect your mind.
A podcast by Neutral Voices Media
Count your
Group,
opinions important, so you
NV.
gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, proud. Shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues.